Warm, humid, humid.
During the break,
Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. And we are here on a very, very special evening. Yes, yesterday it was, I realized it, we had an all women's panel. We had to balance it out, and we have a all men's panel here today. Very, very privileged to have Abhijit Deshmukh, who's obviously been covering a lot of the games for us from the various stadiums that he visits. Abhijit, a pleasure to have you there. Of course, Joydeep Mukherjee, as always, he's one of the sharpest minds who kind of tells us a lot about the technicalities of the game. And Devashish, obviously he has covered. He's been an insider on various stores. He's has so many footages. So it's a wonderful experience to have everyone on the panel. Welcome, gentlemen. Abhijit, I'm going to start off with you because we obviously understand that sometimes near the stadium it's a bit hard with coverage. So just want to get your sense on what's the feeling like, what's the atmosphere like. Just give us a quick taste of what's the sentiment before this very, very big game that we have this evening.
Well, I think Gujarat Titans obviously are the favorites today, as on the paper. Unfortunate thing today, crowd hasn't turned out too much. Maybe it's because of Monday. But what I got to know is tomorrow there is CSK versus RCB at the same DY Patil Stadium, and it's a sold-out game. So hopefully more number of fans will be here tomorrow. And I think, probably, if Gujarat wins today, they go top on the table. But Sunrisers have won the last match, and maybe they can spoil the party for them.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm hoping more crowds come in. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, when I look at the stadiums, I'm obviously watching it on television. It's so good to see, crowd back compared to some of the previous editions where obviously that wasn't the case. And understandably, it's a Monday evening just after the weekend. In fact, before we talk about today's game, there's so much to talk about. But Joydeep, I want to get your views over the weekend games. I mean, I remember being on the panel with you. Clearly, none of our predictions went. I mean, Mumbai, Chennai is right at the bottom. SRH managed to win one game. Overall, if you take a quick stock of where the IPL has been, what's your overall sense over the last couple of weeks? How has the tournament been? Has it been exciting? Obviously, a lot of people are happy with the two new teams. Clearly, Gujarat is doing well. Well, Lucknow had an unfortunate loss, but overall they've done far better than some of the so-called stalwart teams. What's your overall perception of the tournament thus far?
yeah, Prantik, that's a great question because I can't remember of any IPL and 2008 counted where all the teams were so closely knit up. Except one maybe, who I don't want to name. I think name-wise, just on paper, they are lagging behind a bit. But because the BCCI very smartly did not have the right to match card, and I always thought that before when that earlier new teams came, they always struggled because they were not getting 4 + 3, 7, 7 into 8, 56 best players in the country were not accessible to them. And you are paying 5 times the price to get a team. So that did not seem like a fair deal to me. Because how do I ever compete with these guys if I'm never ever going to get the top 56 players ever? It's not just this year. But the great masterstroke was not having the right to match. I could never imagine Shikhar Dhawan, KL Rahul, all these people, players of this quality and pedigree, not retained, either retained or right to matched. They are not up for grabs. And that's what's evened all the teams out. Yes, some teams are feeling weakened, I'm sure. Mumbai is. When Rohit Sharma looks around, no Krunal Pandey, no Rahul Chahar, no one to turn to. Similarly, in Delhi, when Rishabh Pant is looking around, where's Shreyas Iyer gone? Where is Shikhar Dhawan gone? Well, obviously, they've gone to franchises where they've bolstered the teams up. So that's the reason why I think this is as open a tournament as any. And it's just sheer bad luck that Chennai and Mumbai haven't got off because they have, you can't become this, lack of form is something you can't go on for so long. And it's just two of the best teams. One has won 5 times, one has won 3 times, and both of them off the mark is not getting off the mark is something we did not perceive. But I also feel that now everybody is feeling that all of us can make the 4. Before, there were always about 5 or 6 teams that thought of the 4. But now there are all 8, and I would like to see all 10 in the next couple of weeks. Lots can change in the next couple of weeks. You never know. Chennai and Mumbai went 4 on the trot. It's even Steven. and that's possible.
Absolutely, and that's what you want really in a tournament. I mean, it's really, I'm personally very encouraged to see how the two new teams are faring. Obviously, as you rightly said, they had the resources, they had the chance to kind of build a team, and I think this is a good testimony to the fact that the way those policies were kind of laid out. This is what's helped these two new franchises to compete, on level footing. Devashish, I want to get your perspective on this. Obviously a big KKR fan, many of us here. I mean, they were obviously on tops, and now suddenly things. Do you think it was just a one-off game where things looked a bit off, or are you seeing there are some talks and some articles about there seems to be some structural gaps where KKR, seems to be missing a few things. What is your take based on what you saw over the weekend?
I think that was an wake up call for as far as KKR is concerned, and Prantik, the good thing about a tournament like IPL is that if you lose these close matches at the start, it augurs well for your team, because if you lose close matches towards the back business end of the tournament, that's when it gets all jeopardized for your chances of making it to the playoffs. So in that way, I would say that it is a wake up call. Perhaps they need to think about perhaps getting in Aaron Finch instead of Ajinkya Rahane. That's the only change I believe would do wonders. Maybe get a Sheldon Jackson to keep wickets and leave out Sam Billings and get in Aaron Finch, because I don't see Andre Russell or a Sunil Narine or a Pat Cummins getting dropped uh, in the near future. As far as the Gujarat Titans and Sunrisers Hyderabad match is concerned, I'd just like to share that Hyderabad team
Yes,
has
please.
won the toss and decided to fill. Both the teams are going in with the same 11, so no changes, which means Darshan Nalkande and Sai Sudarshan, both the players who have performed for Gujarat Titans in the previous match, retains their places, and so as well with Sunrisers, because there were talks that Umran Malik might be replaced, or someone like a Shreyas Gopal might get in, but that's not the case as of now. Both the teams are going in with the same 11. Prantik.
No, thank you so much. I think thank you for that update.
Yeah, Prantik,
Before
just
I,
on that,
yes, yeah,
just on that KKR game, I thought KKR's bowling is their bank, and once that comes under the pump, then KKR will be on the back foot. So what they did was they came and counter-attacked Umesh, because he's in the form of his life.
yeah,
Pat Cummins, they knew that hasn't had a good game with the ball, so they attacked him, and they attacked Varun, because Varun is easier to pick between Sunil, and Sunil is more accurate than Varun. Varun's mystery and Sunil's mystery. Varun's mystery is 2 years old. Sunil's mystery is 12 years old, and Sunil still holds his own. And Sunil is very, very accurate for a mystery spinner. See, you can be a mystery spinner, you can be a mystery fast bowler. You have to put the ball on the spot. Otherwise, no mystery is there. That's where Sunil scores. In that carnage, he had 521. I mean, 421. That's
yeah.
unbelievable. So I feel very smartly, they went about the plan. Of course, the plan worked. On another day, the plan wouldn't work. You had a couple of wickets up front. And then the way Prithvi batted, because of having David Warner at the other end. I've been harping on
Yeah,
Prithvi with a David Warner stroke Shikhar Dhawan and without. That's a sea difference, because he knows his role. Problem is, if he comes with somebody else and that guy gets out, Prithvi doesn't know his role. So with
no,
David
absolutely.
Warner there, as long as David Warner is there, Prithvi knows his role. And when it's his day, he'll win your game on his own. And that's what he did with the jump that he gives you.
Absolutely. And I'll come back to a couple of topics there. But, Abhijit, obviously, glad to see you back again. Your take on the SRH team, obviously in the previous game, it was a good victory. I was a bit surprised. I mean, I was on the show and I was obviously not rooting for them, but good to see from your perspective, with the same 11 that they're going. How do you see today's match? How do you see the pitch playing today at DY Patil? You've covered games there. It would be good to get your sense of, what's a sort of, sorry, Abhijit, can you hear us? I think probably some connection. We'll just give him another 10 seconds if he can hear us.
Yeah.
Abhijit, yeah,
Yeah.
quickly your take on the pitch today and the SRH side and the GT side. What does, who are you kind of rooting for, and your take, especially from an SRH perspective, how important is this particular game?
I think SRH must be feeling confident after the first win. I think all it takes is the first win, and I think see, it's a T20 format, and anyone can win the match. But looking at few of the stats, may not go in the SRH favor. I'm excited to see Rashid Khan up against his former franchisee. It will be the first time. And I just got a stat where I've seen, Kane Williamson, he's been dismissed by Mohammad Shami thrice. So, he's the only bowler who has dismissed him thrice in the entire IPL. And I think, again, Williamson, is not in the best form. So it will be interesting to see if he opens the match today.
No, wonderful. I mean, I was just going to talk because I just prior to this, I was watching a wonderful video on Shami, who obviously Joydeep has spoken a lot about over the last few months on our Rev Sport shows. I think Gujarat Titans has shared a video. Joydeep, I'm going to come back to you on this one, right? Do you reckon that I mean, maybe different teams have different sort of balances, but I personally am finding that the GT team has great depth, great all-rounder options, good bowling options. How do you rate the Gujarat Titans based on what you have seen? It's a new franchise under Hardik, a very different kind of aggressive leader. What's your take on the Gujarat Titans as a side?
No, I thought both the new teams, as we spoke, even during the auction, we were there on auction day, and we said that how good these two teams have lined. And I would, on paper, I would put Lucknow slightly ahead of Gujarat, just on paper. But the game is not played on paper; it's played on grass and on a cricket pitch, and it's on form. I think Hardik himself coming out. We didn't know if Hardik is going to bowl. We didn't know what he's going to bowl. Is he going to bowl 125 and just WWE stuff? He's going to come back like we've seen him come back. The old Hardik, because Hardik is from the most important member of the Indian team, because what he does, there's no replacement. I mean, with Rohit and Virat, there are 3-4 guys who can replace them. Maybe not to their standard, but even 80% of that. Same with the fast bowlers. We've got a pool now. Same with the spinners, with Aksar and Jadeja and Ashwin and everybody there. Gautam doing well now, and everybody else. Your spinners doing well. But if you look at Hardik, bat at 6-7 like that and bowl 135 plus 140, there's not one guy in India who can do it. So he's so important for us, because when he comes, it's like you're playing with an extra batter, an extra bowler in your team. So, which is always the case with quality all-rounders. So I've been really surprised and pleasantly surprised by the way he's handled his team. If people have dropped catches, he smiled. People have got hit, he's gone to the bowlers and been by them. We had a different, perception of Hardik. We thought he's going to be angry and lose his head. Completely different. It's been so good to watch. He's looking like a matured captain. He's looking like a guy. When he was in Mumbai with so many senior players, he didn't have so much of a leadership role. But over here, he's just outstanding as a skipper. I think, KL is somebody you expect from, because I know KL and I know his demeanor. And Hardik, I know barely. But I would think he'd probably be a little more aggressive. But when things haven't gone their way, especially with the younger boys, the way he's looked after them and treated them has been outstanding.
No, absolutely. It's such a pleasure to watch him open the bowling, take responsibility, and bowl fast. You're right. I mean, this could augur so well for India at the T20 World Cup, upcoming World Cup. And on that note, Devashish, I want to get your thoughts. At a tournament level, so many young players have come to the party. 21, 22-year-old boys winning, scoring match-winning innings. I want to get your thoughts on the performances of these new players, the youth, so to speak. What have which have been some of your favorite performances, and what are you looking forward? Are there any specific players that you really think will make the cut to potentially get in the Indian squad in the upcoming World Cup?
Yeah, that is what IPL is all about. Means unearthing talent. Means it is the perfect platform to unearth the talent that India has, and it's a vast talent pool that we have. Means see the likes of Ayush Badoni or Kuldeep Sen. I mean, who would have thought that a Kuldeep Sen would defend 15 runs of the last over against Marcus Stoinis? That's the success of IPL, I would say, because I would have never put my money on a Kuldeep Sen to win the matches defending 15 runs against a Marcus Stoinis. On 9 out of 10 times he would eventually Marcus will win. But the hats off to the temperament that the youngster had showed. Obviously, and then you talk about the Darshan Nalkande, another guy to watch out for the Gujarat Titans. Sai Sudarshan, means then Tilak Varma for Mumbai Indians. And although he is on the losing side, means Mumbai is not doing well, but he has been one positive player for Mumbai Indians. And obviously there are so many. There is Lalit Yadav, another cricketer, another youngster who has done well. So I think But as far as Indian team is concerned, I don't see too many youngsters, Prantik, to get that the nod as far as T20 World Cup, because it is more or less it will be the same. The tried out guys, the experienced players. We can't tell these players experience like the guys like Venkatesh Iyer or Hardik Pandya, who's definitely will be in that side. So I think it will be more on experience, but too early to comment whether some of these young uncapped players that I mentioned, whether they're going to be in that flight to Australia.
Got that. Thank you so much, Abhijit. Your take on the DY Patil pitch. How have you seen it throughout the tournament? If you compare it to the Mumbai pitches, how has DY Patil played? And obviously it's an evening game, and the toss, clearly it's a no-brainer. Everyone's choosing to bowl. What's your take in terms of DY Patil? Is this bowling first strategy working well for the teams that win the toss and elect to field?
Yeah, so today is my fourth venue, so I've covered all the venues so far. I think there's a bit difference between, Brabon and Wankhede, I would say, kind of on the similar side. They're near to the coastal area. The dew factor is more there.
Yeah.
Here as well, in Navi Mumbai, there is dew, but it's not that as to the Wankhede and Brabon. The pitch here has been high scoring. We remember the first match between Punjab and RCB, both the teams scoring 200. And Pune is altogether different. It's near to the mountains. The pitch there, it's not much bouncy. So it's different altogether on DY Patil, rest of the venue, and Pune. So today I think we might expect another big scoring game.
Got that. No, absolutely. I think the fact that obviously the Mumbai and the Pune pitches are different, and I'm definitely looking forward. We've had some interesting close games, but I think we could do with a nice 200 plus a game, and hopefully it's a close one. Joydeep, on that particular point, obviously Gujarat is batting first. Do they've done well. Sometimes they say that, as Debashish was saying, sometimes when you have a little bit of a crisis and a wake up call, you try and tinker around. When a team is doing well, what's the approach? Should they continue doing the same, or should they experiment nonetheless just to try out different combinations, especially when you're playing against SRH, which is still in the bottom three, bottom four? How would you plan from a GT perspective?
See, when you look at all the teams, this is one game that everybody will like to win, get the 2 points. In the English Premier League, when you play a Bolton Wanderers, everybody's looking for those 2 points. The leaders all are. If you lose points there, then that's sort of a, you're a little bit handicapped over there. That's one. Number two is the fact that, in this tournament, there will be some games you lose. Nobody wins 14-0, 13-1, 12-2. Those seasons haven't happened with anybody. So it's very important for people, for teams, even if they lose games, to bounce back, because they know it's one bad game. Like the game that, last two balls, Tewatia, that could have been either way. The game yesterday could have been either way. So any of the games, like Kuldeep Sen, Debashish rightly said that won his team the game, that could have been either way. There are, I would reckon, 6 times where Sternis would get it.
Joydeep, sorry, I will just interrupt for a second. Abhijit, we know you have to leave. Just want to, before you go, just any quick parting comments. Which side are you on, and what's your score prediction for tonight?
Well, I'm not on any of the side, but I think Sunrisers might just spoil the party of Titans, and Titans might be ending up on the losing side.
Wow, that's a big prediction. All I'm hoping for, it's a good game. Abhijit, please go ahead. You will have to take your seat. Enjoy the game, and let's see if SRH actually spoils the party. But we hope it's a good game. Have fun, Abhijit.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Sorry, Jadita, you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, so every team sort of knows that there will be a few games that won't go their way. And hopefully those are close games for 2 reasons. One is that you were in the game, you were not outplayed. And secondly, the net run rate hasn't taken a beating. So there are 2 reasons for that. Because with 4 teams going out of 10, the net run rate, with 4 teams going out of 8, KKR lost on a net run rate 3 times in the last 5-6 years. So net run rate is something now all the teams keep in mind from ball 1 of the tournament, because that's something comes to bite you back if you don't keep a tab on it. 1. 2 is that the fact that you're always in the game. There will be some games where you'll be outplayed and some one-sided games, but by and large, we've seen all the games have gone down to the wire, which is again, stems from the fact that The teams have been pretty closely bunched up. The potency of the teams, the ammunition of the teams are pretty even, Steven. And whoever plays well on that given day is going to win. And that was not always the case in the previous years. Some teams were so much stronger than the others, no matter how well the other team played. The other team had to play, Mumbai had to play at 50% for the other team to win. But now, if a Mumbai plays at 75%, the other team can beat them. That's why this IPL is a game changer.
Absolutely. And Debashish, your thoughts on, SRH has won a game. A lot of people were not expecting. We've spoken about how their auction strategy didn't work out. When you are, if you're an SRH management, SRH captain, are you looking to make any changes? What's going to be the game plan for SRH to beat a very well-balanced, strong side like Gujarat Titans?
I think obviously we know that they are going into the same 11, but they need to think, as I've been trying to say in quite a few times when SRH was playing, that captain needs to think out of the box, and in this case, and Kane Williamson, he should rather it's high time that he goes in at number 3 rather than, because he has not been in form. To tell you frankly, Joydipda will also agree with me. Kane Williamson, with due respect, with due regards, he has been one of the biggest batsmen ever to have done is the Fab Five, I would say, but he has not been in the best of form as far as T20 format is concerned. So
Yeah,
you need
also
to say,
very, 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 very good point he makes, because he's not a gun T20 player even for New Zealand.
Yeah.
He's the banker over there. So the banker never bats at open. When you have a Rahul Tripathi, he makes a very valid point. The banker bats at 3 because, see, last year all these years he batted at 3 because he had Johnny Bairstow, he had somebody like a David Warner. So he did the banker's role. He batted 14, 15 overs. But now he's batting out of position and Rahul Tripathi is batting out of position. Doesn't make sense. I'm absolutely with Debashish on this.
yeah, and so as Joydip did put out, means absolutely, if Rahul Tripathi is your informed player, and he is someone who has scored almost 500 runs in last IPL, so you should always send in someone who. But the problem here is, Prantik, I have been going through the stats, is that he has to face someone like a Mohammad Sami, who has been bowling outstandingly in the tournament so far. So I think both, as Abhijit, he did mention that Shami did get out, so Kane Williamson twice in IPL, the most by any bowler. So, and Shami would be very, very tough to face in this form, the kind of form he is in at the moment. So I think perhaps Sunrisers will be inclined so as to stick with the same batting combinations. Kane Williamson, someone who can defend at least not lose those quick wickets in the power plays. Because if you are suddenly, if you are 3 wickets down in the power play, then it puts immense pressure on the middle order. And Sunrisers middle order, we know, is not that experienced, because Nicholas Puran is in form, also Aiden Markram, but then to bail you out and post a total. In fact, here they are chasing. So
Yeah.
one would hope that they restrict the they restrict the Gujarat Titans batting to a defendable total. I don't know what would be that. Perhaps 150, 160. They can sense that, oh, come on, we have a chance. We might
So on
cause
that note,
another
yeah,
upset.
and I want to get Jadipta your perspective, right? Obviously, these guys are chasing to to comfortably feel that they have enough in the bank to kind of chase this down. And as Debashish says, maybe 150, 160. But what does SRH need to do? Which bowler is going to get those early wickets or slow things down to keep it to that 160?
See, there is Bhuvneshwar Kumar. T. Natarajan has looked really good. There is Marco Johnson, who can do wonders with the ball. Washish Sundar can pick up wickets early on. But when I look at the Gujarat batting, Matthew Wade not in form. Shubman Gill outstanding form. Sai Sudarshan early days. Hardik Pandya 30s and 35s. David Miller hasn't gone off yet. Rahul Tiwatia 2-ball wonders, superb, but not a 50-60 yet. Abhinav Manohar 1 finish. So it's not that they also have a lot of runs behind them. It's not that somebody's got 212 runs and another guy's got 170 runs. They've won games. They've won games from impossible positions. They've done incredible things to win games. But this batting unit is also not one that's all in form. And on the other side, if you look, Abhishek Sharma has got runs at the end. Kane Williamson, patchy. Rahul Tripathi has looked really good. when he's come. Nicholas Pooran, also patchy. Adrian Markram hasn't hit off. Shashank Singh, Washi Sundar. So if you see whoever bats well in this tournament, because the bowling from both sides looks pretty solid. So you have similar bowling. I think maybe Hyderabad slightly below par compared to Gujarat bowling. Whoever bats well against the opponent's bowling might hold the key to today's win.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to have a fan video, but before that, quickly, your score predictions and which side are you on tonight?
Yeah, I'm going. I don't know about. I haven't seen the pitches yet, so I find it impossible to difficult to predict a score. But I would think about 170. That's like in between, because I don't know if there's grass. There's no grass. Is it dry? Because we saw the ball turn yesterday. Gautam came round the wicket, bowled off spin, and got the batter bowled. That means the wicket is beginning to turn a bit. There's a little bit of change from the first week of IPL, so I don't know what the pitch is. But I would think about 170 would be par, and I'm going with SRH because Veda went with Gujarat.
So two so far for SRH. Devashish, are you on? Which side are you on?
I would put my money on Gujarat Titans. They look that team in form. They haven't lost a match so far. And
Debashish really knows where to put his money. Debashish really knows where to put his money. So,
and as you always say, he
Gujarat
probably knows a lot of inside stories.
Of
anyway,
course.
he knows about the
yes.
pitch. He knows about the team.
Yes,
So,
yes, he knows all that. Like he said, Jaidev
my money
might play.
Yes.
Jaidev Unadkat might play and all
Might
that.
play.
He knew he was going to play. He's a wily old fox.
No.
So my money is on Devashish actually. No.
Yeah, the fact that I am putting my money on Gujarat Titans is the sheer fact that they have a great chance of topping that table. Means 4 out of 4, which none of the teams has done so far. So there's a bit of motivation for the Titans, and also if they can post a total of 180 plus. Lockie Ferguson, the kind of form he's in, Mohammad Shami, the form he's in, Rashid Khan in the middle overs. We know he's a master of his art, and also Darshan Nalkande has done reasonably well. So I think if they can post a total of 180 plus, which they can, they have that batting. Shubman Gill has been the man in form for Titans. Matthew Wade, he's the weak link, but Sai Sudarshan, he looked impressive. Hardik, we never know. Means it can be his night. He can put and Rahul Tewatia means 2 sixes. We still have not got over that. So I would rather see that if Gujarat Titans are able to put on 180 plus, the total of 180 in excess of 180, they have the firepower to defend the total.
Yeah, and it's good to see that they're backing Matthew Wade, Prantik, because sometimes when you don't score runs, often in 3-4 games, they're doing well. That has helped helped them in backing him, because if you're 2-2, then everybody says we need a change. But when you win, don't fix it if it ain't broken. But even this is a hallmark of a good, solid franchise. They're not panicking. You see the Chennai's, the Mumbai's back in there. They hardly made changes. So this is it. They're giving Matthew Wade, look, listen, dude, we're asking you to open. We're asking you to go and bat at 160 strike rate. And even if you fail, we're with you. It's a great way to go.
And what a class batsman. I mean, every time I think of Matthew Wade off late, I'm just reminded of that particular over against China.
And once he comes off, this team will actually be a couple of gears above, and that's what they're hoping for. See, when you have a player who can make an unbelievable difference, you got to look through him through a bit of rough patch, and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely, that's what you got to do to support, players who might. I mean, you see that even with Abhishek as well. I mean, they kind of backed him, and he came good. Before we get to that video, I want to get Jaideep your view on someone like an Abhishek, someone like a Rawat have come to the party. I mean, absolutely fabulous talent. I mean, how do these guys prepare to kind of get to this big stage? I'm sure these guys have the talent, but what does it take? What's your message to some of these youngsters when they're playing with the big guns, when they're playing against the big guns? Even Dewal Brevis, I mean, has come through the ranks. I'm sure a long way to go. What's the message for some of these young folks? How do you kind of make it to that big league?
Yeah, the first thing you do is start doing well for your state. I get this question asked a lot because I am a director of a state and I'm also been with IPL franchises. So what is the path? What is the route? Is it a highway? Is it a bit bumpy? I said, listen, every road is bumpy. I'm sure wherever in each sphere, if you've gone, where you are today sitting in the lovely place in Singapore, or where Debashish is today sitting in the lovely house of his, it's been a rocky road. Life is not easy. But
Yeah.
all I'm saying here is that you got to stick to your discipline. You know, that everything that comes with success, that perseverance and single-mindedness. But the most important thing is the route is for you to do well for your state. So it starts with you doing well for under 16 state, under 19 state, under 25 state, which is going to become under 23 next year, and then senior state. So if you take an Akashdeep and a Shahbaz, and I'm talking about a Bengal because that's where I'm involved,
Yeah.
and a Ritik Chatterjee, and a Nishan Porel, and a Riddhiman Saha, and a Sivaj Goswami, they were gun players in state cricket. They are killing it in state cricket. And when Bengal plays the white ball cricket, and as do other 38 first class teams, there are 10 scouts from 10 franchises. Sometimes there are 20 scouts from 10 franchises because they're playing in two grounds. The games are going
Yeah.
on in tandem. So when there are two games going on in tandem, there are two from a Mumbai Indians in two of the grounds watching these players. So that's how Shahbaz got picked up. That's how Ritik Chatterjee got picked up. So your key to doing well is first learn the tricks of the trade, how it's done, and then replicate in match situation, in practice with bowling machine. But ultimately, if you do well for your state, you will get picked up.
I think the message is loud and clear. You've got to start from the grassroots. You've got to do well for your states. The road is going to be bumpy for sure. And again, if you saw the video yesterday, Simon Katic said this about Shahbaz, that, across all domestic tournaments, Syed Mushtaq Ali, whether it's Vijay Hazare, Ranji, the man's done well. And obviously, the youngsters may not get a chance, right away, but you've got to. Everyone remembered that Shahbaz Ahmed catch of Steve Smith. And obviously, every time he got a chance, he made the most of it.
And
right?
before Shahbaz, Akash got in, they were in the books. There were franchises talking to me. How is he doing? How is he shaping up? How is his bowling coming along? Even before they got him in. So Akashdeep was a net bowler with Rajasthan Royals for a year, then a net bowler for RCB for a year, and then makes it. So there's a route to it. Mukesh Kumar is right now in the bowling group with Delhi. He hasn't got a contract yet. The way he's bowling, he'll get a contract next year. So you first got to enter that league. You enter that league. You go to that class. When you're in class 7, you go to class 8, and then you say what's happening. So important thing is be in that league with your skills.
Absolutely. As they say, overnight success can take 10 years. All right, gentlemen, we're at the fag end of our show. Before we go and watch the crucial game, which is probably more important for SRH tonight, let's see this wonderful fan video that we have thanks to Abhijit, and enjoy the game, and we'll see you after the one. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Prantik.
You
Good
too.
night.
It's Monday Maniac, and at this beautiful DY Patil Stadium here in Navi Mumbai, Gujarat Titans will take against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Titans have won 3 matches in a row and are unbeaten. On the other side, Sunrisers Hyderabad has won only 1 match. The last match won by Titans was a nail biter when Rahul Tewatia scored 2 sixes of the last 2 balls. So I have with me some fans of Gujarat Titan who have came all the way from Navsari. तो कैसा लग रहा है? गुजरात टाइटंस 3 मैच जीत चुकी है. आज क्या लगता है?
बहुत ही बढ़िया. आज भी हम मैच जीत के रहेंगे. हम लोग उसके लिए सपोर्ट के लिए आए हैं.
लास्ट मैच में राहुल तेवातिया ने तो कमाल कर दिया. लास्ट 2 बॉल में 2 छक्के मार दिए. उनके बारे में आप क्या बताएंगे?
बहुत ही बढ़िया कि जो हमने मैच जीती है वो एकदम एक्सीलेंट है और इस बार भी हम ऐसे ही जीतेंगे.
फॉरेन प्लेयर्स के बारे में आप क्या कहोगे गुजरात टाइटंस के?
अभी फिलहाल राशिद खान है, वो बहुत खेल रहा है और अच्छा खेल रहा है. बाकी के है सब आज आई होप वो अच्छा खेले, अच्छा प्रदर्शन करे.
आई होप कि जो गुजरात के जो प्लेयर्स है उसकी लास्ट अंतिम मैच अहमदाबाद में हो तो बहुत ही बढ़िया रहेगा.
तो आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि प्लेऑफ अहमदाबाद में होंगे?
जरूर जी, जरूर होना ही चाहिए वहाँ पे, क्योंकि प्लेयर्स वहाँ के सारे हैं.
फुल फील्ड सपोर्ट है. अहमदाबाद में आएंगे तो बहुत ही बेहतर प्रदर्शन होगा और हम ऐसा देखना चाहते हैं कि इस बार 2020 में गुजरात ही विनर होगा. जीतेगा भाई, जीतेगा. गुजरात टाइटंस जीतेगा. जीतेगा भाई, जीतेगा. गुजरात टाइटंस जीतेगा. हिप हिप हुर्रे.
If Gujarat Titan wins, they go at the top of the table with 8 points. But Sunrisers Hyderabad can spoil their party. This is Abhijit Deshmukh, DY Patil Stadium, Navi Mumbai.